Welcome to Boxing on the Record with Chi-Town and Rain. Chi-Town, what's going on? What's going on with you, man? What you got on your mind? You want to get in, put it on the record?
Man, Randy. Some sad news after such a beautiful weekend of boxing. A beautiful weekend capped off with the beautiful undisputed heavyweight fight. At least on that on the pay-per-view card, we still had another fight on ESPN later on the evening. But on the pay-per-view card, just capped off wonderfully, very exciting. Alexander Usyk won the undisputed. He is now he beat Tyson Fury, took Tyson's belt. He is now the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. However, and he's the first one we've had in 25, 26 years. And so that's amazing and that's great. And all those accomplishments and blah, blah, blah. And the two-time undisputed now, he makes history being undisputed in cruiserweight and heavyweight, just like Bud and Monster were undisputed in two divisions. Having said all that, man, after all this beauty and celebration, unfortunately, it appears that the IBF is planning on stripping Usyk of that belt. And so he's undisputed now. He made history in the history book. He's undisputed, but he may not still be undisputed by the end of this week. One of those belts will be gone, within the end of this week or whenever the IBF decides to go ahead and grab it from him. And it's very unfortunate, but they're falling back on a rule that they have. And this rule is that a heavyweight champion has 12 months to fight their mandatory fighter, which will be like the number one person that's there. So whoever has that belt has to fight the number one person within 1 year of obtaining that belt. So this is a rule they're trying to fall back on as relates. But I'm going to tell you that I personally feel there's a play here. I believe the play is for AJ to get the belt, but then I'm going to go through real quick and kind of explain how I come to that kind of conclusion that they're trying to get the belt back to AJ, who had the belt for several years. In addition, what I also wanted to add is that we also have to remember that even though these are independent organizations and all these things, the promoters have full access to them. All of these so-called sanctioned bodies, the promoters have full access to them. And we all know, and we've heard it from boxing managers and even from promoters, all you have to do really is, and we've seen it, and I'm going to use the WBC as an example, all you have to do is just go shake a little money in front of them, and your guy automatically goes into their their ranking list. You want your guy to go higher, shake a little bit more money at him, that guy will go up higher. And so I want that to stay in your mind as well, Randy. We think about this, we think about who AJ's promoter, and all these things. But anyways, according to them, and I also want to say that Fury and Usyk both knew that this was a possibility before the fight. So this is nothing that all of a sudden came out the blue. No one's gonna, lose their baby over all of this stuff. At least the boxers aren't, because they were fully made aware of this before the fight. So I mean, it's just the fans, not all the fans were aware. But anyway, so their rule says that you have to do that. You have to defend the title within 12 months against their number one person in that division. If you don't, then you can be stripped of it. If you do defend it and you beat the number one person, then after that, within a 12-month time span, after that, you have to defend it every 9 months against their number one person. Now, Usyk won the belt. Excuse me, sorry. He beat AJ. It was back in 2021 when he first won the belt. However, at that time when he won the belt, there was no number one person. It was vacant, that number one slot. There was 2, 3, 4, or whatever, but no one was at that number one slot. So fine, move on, move forward. When he went back and did the rematch with AJ later, the following year, 2022, I believe it was, at that time, August of 2022, leading up to August, in July, June, May, all that stuff, January the 1st, 2022, there was no mandatory. That no one spot was empty. But in August, the month that he and AJ are doing a rematch, out of the blue, Hrgovic's name gets put on that mandatory list. Hrgovic becomes the mandatory for whoever won that fight, becomes that number one person. And it just so happens that Usyk won. Mm-hmm. So if we just start the rules from that point there, from 2022, Usyk would have 1 year, if they even saw this as a loophole. They would say, okay, we would give you 1 year, which means you have until August of 2023 to defend this title against Hrgovic. If not, then you'll be stripped against it. Now, Ugas did have another fight in 2023, but that fight was against Daniel Dubois, a person that wasn't even on the IBF rankings at all. So he didn't even satisfy their rules with that. So he did fight him, he beat him, and then he went on and fought Fury. So you can see how the rules, it's kind of hard to kind of get around it based off of how it's all set up there. So this is the rule they're using. And if you just look at it as it's in a static form, there's not much of a debate on why Usyk is being stripped. But if you kind of go back through their records and you look at the person he took the belt from and you follow AJ's career with that belt, what you will see is he had that belt for 3 years, almost 4 years, but 3, and then he lost to Usyk. During that whole time, he did not fight any mandatory. Well, no, let me take it back. He fought one mandatory, and that was after he lost it to Andy Ruiz. Let me get everything together. He had it for 3 years. He lost it to Ruiz. Right. How the time is. I'm trying to keep the time right. I'll slow it down.
Go ahead. I'm gonna just take this time to listen to you. Go ahead.
Word, right on. He lost to Andy Ruiz. So for the 3 years before, he had no mandatory. They kept that spot vacant for him. There was no mandatory. He did not fight a mandatory. But to get around some of the stuff in case there was a court case, to protect himself as well, he did fight a couple of people that were in the top 15 within there so that his site could be kind of clean if there was ever going to be a court case. And it would only be put on the IBF. Why haven't you put someone in the mandatory spot for 3 years? If someone ever wanted to take them to court, AJ wouldn't be held liable because he said, I covered my side because I kept fighting somebody in the top 15 who was an IBF person. Now, after he lost to Andy Ruiz, excuse me, he won the belt back in the rematch. After he won the belt back in the rematch, after that, they put a person at the mandatory spot, Puvlev. And he fought Puvlev, won. And then that's it. Then after Puvlev, they went back and vacated the mandatory spot again. And so from that time all the way up until he fought against Usyk and lost, AJ had no more mandatories. That spot remained vacant. So you look at this play, and you look at when Usyk won it, there was no mandatories. The number one spot was vacant. Nobody was there. And then, excuse me, and then all of a sudden, when he rematches AJ, they put a mandatory right there. Hrgovic. No mandatory before, no mandatory the whole entire year after, but then just literally coming up to the fight, the month of the fight, they make Hrgovic the number one. And then after that, and then Usyk wins again. And then after that, then what happens as we know, he fights Dubois, and then they go on. So the time to strip Usyk was to strip him when he fought Dubois. Right after him and Dubois fought, or just before, that was the time to strip him. But they did not strip him after he beat Dubois. Why didn't they strip him? Now we have a potential for this whole mega fight to go on. Now, again, this is my conjecture on this part. Mm-hmm. Because the only person he fought after that was Fury. We have a chance for the titles to be, all of them to be unified now. Well, that's a big money fight. That would make history. That would do all that stuff. But you guys were breaking your rule then, allowing your belt to go to that fight because the rules had been broken when he fought Dubois. Why did you allow that to continue on for this? So you find ways to do what you want to do. And something you shared, Randy, you find you're the only one that can break your rules, if you will. The IBF break their own rules, but nobody else can. And they break the rules based off of whatever agenda that they have set for themselves. So I believe that they're going to pull this from Usyk and use the standard that they have that is hard to debate, just on the surface of it. so that the fight between Dubois and Hergovich coming up will be for the title, will be or title eliminator for the title, same. And then the person that has that after that, their next mandatory, the person that they will have to fight is AJ, because right now they have AJ ranked as number 3, I believe, on the IBF site. AJ is 3, Hergovich is 1, and now two had been vacant this for the last 5 months or whatever. So or since April, so for the last 4 months. So I'm sure leading up to this fight here, they're throwing Dubois and whatever into that number 2 spot to make it seem like number 1 is fighting number 2, and then after that, AJ is going to be their number 1. And so my thought is they're looking to make AJ the IBF champion again, and they by 2025. This is what they're looking at. I'll let you go ahead and flow, Randy. I know I got very wordy. I know that was very technical, but we needed to get that on the record.
After that, ain't really nothing much to be said, Shy. I mean, you summed it all up. I mean, you didn't leave no meat on the bone.
I mean, it's just the business of boxing as it always is. And we keep saying the business of boxing as usual, but the IBF was one of our stand-up sanctioning bodies, because this rule, they do apply to all the other, divisions. And we've always talked about that. When someone becomes IBF champion, it's like one thing about the IBF make you fight your mentor. So you can't, get away and duck somebody. We've already used them as an example. And then that's why I'm kind of shocked at the play that they're doing now. But I took some time to look at it, and I was like, there you guys are, just like everybody else.
I will say one or two things. Maybe they are slowly taking a page out of the WBC playbook and being able to just do what they want to do, and seeing how far they can go with it. And as they move the line, they will slowly become like the WBC and just doing whatever they want to do. Or maybe they've been doing this the whole while and we never really paid attention to it because social media wasn't popping like it is now. So now we kind of seeing things unfold in real time. Maybe they have been, if we go back and check, that they have been doing little slick stuff like this. But by the time it catch up, we're on to the next, because you know how boxing is. Boxing only care about what's going on today. It don't really care about what's going on tomorrow unless you do something crazy or the people don't like you, so they'll keep your name in the spotlight.
That's word, Randy. And something else I forgot is that we're going to go ahead and pin the website, so anyone who's watching the video can go back and don't take my word for it. You can look at it yourself. Go to the IBF website, look at the championship rules, specifically look at the rules for the heavyweight championship. But they haven't listed it on their site. And the historical breakdown that I did, you can easily do that on the IBF website as well. They have a tab for ratings, and you just click on the ratings and you click the division. And then they'll tell you who the champion is at the division, and you just click through the different years, and you can look at the ratings over the years, different months, different years, and you see how they rated different fighters over the years, and you can compare one fighter to another, and then you can look at a person's box rec to see who they fought at a particular time, and then go back to the IBF and pull that year up and see if that fighter was ranked on the IBF when he fought against whoever the champion was at the time, AJ or Usyk and all that, and you just start piecing everything together yourself. So I just want to let everyone know this is all the stuff I said here can all be found on the IBF website. The conclusion I drew in the end is just my conclusion based off of my research with the website and what I learned about the rules and what I saw these fighters, the people that I saw them fighting, and how I saw the rankings over the years. And I came to that conclusion. But this is my opinion and what I came with. But anyone else can go and look and develop their own opinion as they see fit.
Great.
All right, that's all I got. That's all I got for you, Randy. Just want to make sure I put that on the record.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So with that being said, now we see how the IBF is trying to be slick. Now we see how the IBF is trying to put the belt back in AJ hands, which is their darling fighter. You know what I mean? So
True.
We sure appreciate that, Shy. We always appreciate you when you come in and grace our presence. Um, with some great boxing knowledge and technical knowledge. You have anything else?
That's it, bro. Thank you.
All right. And we're out of here like last
Peace.